This is a mock interview conducted by Forum IAS Academy at New Delhi. The interview panel includes eminent academicians, retired bureaucrats, and other luminaries. The objective of the program is to acquaint the candidate with the format and expectations of the personality test conducted by UPSC.
May I get in?
Rajkrishna.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Good morning, sirs.
Take your seat.
Thank you, ma'am.
Are you all right?
Yes, ma'am.
You are based in Delhi at this point of time?
Yes, ma'am.
You come from Bokaro, Jharkhand.
Yes, ma'am.
Everybody knows about Bokaro, but still, for our benefit, what is the latest? We know the glory of Bokaro, but tell me what is the latest happening there?
Ma'am, the latest good thing that has happened with Bokaro is the attaining of active life city status. It is only the second city in Asia that has achieved this status.
Elaborate, please. I want to know.
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
Ma'am, so these cities are actually those which promote active lifestyle among their residents, and they conduct different physical activities such as marathons or yoga sessions.
Okay.
That is given by an international entity.
So people have become very health conscious, and they are they are not into that sedentary lifestyle which the urban Delhi is blamed of.
And the administration is working hard.
Administration is working hard to improve the health of the citizens.
Yes, ma'am.
Now we are talking about health. Post-COVID or during COVID, everybody became very aware. So that was one reason, or it was before COVID also people were health conscious in Bokaro?
Ma'am, there were efforts before also, but they were from the administration side only. But now the people's participation has become huge as well after COVID.
How did Bokaro fare during the second wave of the COVID, which was very bad in Delhi and in many other places in Maharashtra also? Yes. How was the situation in Bokaro?
Ma'am, the second wave was very devastating in its impact, but Bokaro showed resilience in it as well. Bokaro had been running a 3-level program for dealing with COVID. First was strict checking of any entrant from outside to the city via checkposts in railway stations and bus stands as well. And second was ground level flying squad committees were there who were continuously monitoring the active cases that were emerging in the different residential areas. And any such cases were immediately being taken care of, and the whole area was being sealed. Also, the oxygen supply was ample in Bokaro because it has...
Because that was the main reason we lost many lives.
Yes.
Okay. What is your take about the COVID situation in China? The news which comes to us is not very positive. Yes. What is your take on that?
Ma'am, there has been a recurrence of a new variant in China of COVID-19, and its impact has been shown as more devastating than the previous variants by the news channels. So if the reports are true, and even if China is downplaying the number of incidences now, then it can become a havoc for the world again. And third wave or fourth wave can also be there. Because
I think we have to learn to live with COVID. And
yes,
like we do time management, we'll have to do COVID management. You agree with me?
Yes, ma'am, that can be the case.
I take it that way, that COVID is going to stay for some more time, some more years, and we need to, off late, COVID has happened, and this war between Ukraine and Russia, and there's constant fear of another war between Taiwan and China. Yes. Let's talk about Taiwan and China. Tell me one good thing about Taiwan. They are doing very well in that sector.
Yes, ma'am.
What is that sector?
Ma'am, in the semiconductor chip manufacturing sector.
Yes. Tell me their success story. Why Taiwan is so successful in producing semiconductors and India has not done so well?
Ma'am, Taiwan has an early mover advantage in the semiconductor chip industry. It has a lot of skilled labor force, and also it has made contacts with the Pacific countries for getting the natural resources such as lithium and cobalt. And the industry in Taiwan is also benefiting from the whole ecosystem of producing the silicon wafers and polysilicons. So the whole ecosystem is such that they are very good in manufacturing, and especially by the early mover advantage.
And why we could not, now let's come to India, why we were not able to, we have already missed the bus, we know that.
Yes.
What steps Indian government has taken to do damage control? First, we have to do damage control and make us at par with the world, and then see how we can, because semiconductors are needed for everything.
Yes,
so we are only into design. So tell me a little about Indian steps taken.
Ma'am, India is currently lagging in manufacturing of these semiconductor chips, mainly because of lack of raw materials. India has presently very little lithium reserves. And also it is totally import dependent for rare earth metals. So because of absence of raw materials, we are still behind. And also the designing part is there in India because we have a lot of skilled labor force. The software engineers and electrical engineers of India, they are world class and they are good in the designing aspect. But because of lack of manufacturing ecosystem, our capabilities are limited. And
okay, there's a paradigm shift as far as India is concerned. We were always into trading. Now we are, and service sector. Now we are focusing that we should also delve into manufacturing in a big way. If we want to create more employment for people, that's a big issue in India. So what is the present ecosystem for manufacturing as far as semiconductors are concerned? Which one particular, I just read about it, some new developments are there for manufacturing sector. Where is that?
Ma'am, production linked incentive scheme is run by the government, especially for semiconductor chips. And there are also news about government giving a huge subsidy to anyone who is opening a manufacturing plant for semiconductor chips. Ma'am, one I can recall is somewhere in the south, but I'm not sure.
Near Mysore. That now Mysore is called Mysuru. Some 5 kilometers away, some initiative has already started. Gujarat was also bidding for that company, but they didn't get it. And this company near, which is going to set up near Mysuru, physical location of the place became very important. Why? Why Gujarat didn't get it and why Mysuru got it?
Ma'am, one reason I can think of is Mysore is quite close to Bangalore, which is the hub of software companies and all the software engineers.
Gujarat is doing very well. It really has ease of business. But one major reason Gujarat did not get it and Mysuru got it. It is good that you have said that it is near Bangalore, but that is not the reason.
Ma'am, I'm not sure.
Do read about it.
Definitely.
It is that industry needs lot of water, and Gujarat doesn't have, is by and large arid, so they will not be able to cope up with the requirement of water. Because you have a technical background, so I expected that you will know more than me, at least about semiconductor. Semiconductor is a very big program with India. We are trying to become at least self-sufficient sooner or later. So this would be a topic. Let's talk about, I thought that, a B.Tech graduate, a person who has such great personality should go for startups. But you opted for civil services. You must be having your own reasons. Can I know that?
Ma'am, first and foremost reason is the family background, because startups are a risky investment and venture. And the family background does not support that right now.
Okay.
So that is the one primary reason. And secondly, there is also a feeling for community service and being connected with the people, which I find will be more in civil services than in becoming an entrepreneur.
Okay. So then you decided that you will be, okay, that is one good reason, because your background, parents are into teaching and your mother is into government service. Tell me something about your mother.
Yes, ma'am.
In how you see her as a woman of India.
Ma'am, my mother joined primary school as a government teacher in 2006, and currently she has become headmaster of that school.
Very good.
And she has done great initiatives in the school by incorporating the Anganwadis and constructing the buildings, and different facilities have been renovated by her. So she has done professionally very well, and I look at her very high pedestal.
Okay. So who is your role model? Your father or your mother? A tricky question.
Yes.
But your parents are not hearing, so you can tell me.
Ma'am, both are my role model, and my father is my role model, especially in adverse circumstances. When the going gets tough, then I learn from my father. And while doing some tasks or the hard work nature of my mom, that is why she is my role model.
Okay. You just mentioned about Anganwadis,
Yes.
right? So let's talk about that. Let's be specific. Their role. Have you seen any of them working? So because your mother has involved with them.
Yes.
So tell me how they have done, whether the whole system is efficacy wise is a good system, or we need something, and what is them for the Anganwadi workers, what is there in the union budget?
Ma'am, the Anganwadi system that is run in my mother's school, they have two support staff in the Anganwadi, and different children are there. The support staff is doing well in providing them good quality food by giving them nutritious meals and different diverse meals every day. And also they are engaged in teaching the young children the basics of alphabets and numerical systems. Also there are initiatives by government for health, such as the deworming initiative and other to curb the nutritional deficiencies. So they are doing very well, and they are very needed for building the youth capacity.
Okay, what is there for them in the budget? Something positive.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, in the budget under the Mission Vatsalya, there is a program called Saksham Anganwadi, in which we have to boost their capacity and capability to serve more to the children of India.
So, how do we make them more, enthusiastic and more skilled?
Yes.
There are two programs. Do read about it. One is increasing their remuneration because they are lowly paid workers. Second is upscaling their skill set.
Definitely.
So they will be trained further, because this program, because we are a society where we need, the basic malnutrition is a very big issue as far as children and women are concerned. So Anganwadis, if they are trained properly, they will be able to, emanate that information and the skill set to other people. Hygiene is a big issue in India.
Definitely.
So that is there. Are you aware of the recent judgment regarding them by the Supreme Court?
I'm not sure. No, I'm not.
Okay, I think you must read that. Supreme Court has recently said that they are entitled to gratuity. I'm not going into details, but if you Google, then you will be able to see that it's a landmark judgment in the sense that they were treated like workers.
Yes.
They were not treated like employees. That will bring a major change if they are treated as employees, and they get gratuity. That will bring some pride to the job, and more people will be inclined to join as Anganwadi workers. Do read that. Now let's come to the union budget. Tell me one feature, because you have a technical background. Now the budgets are not populist. They are more into, how to bring India into the mainstream. So what feature really makes us very optimistic, or you optimistic?
Ma'am, there are two particular features that are very optimistic for Indian economy. First will be the Pradhan Mantri Gati Shakti Master Plan. That is a convergence scheme of all the infrastructure projects going on. And second will be the increase in capital expenditure of India up to 2.9%.
Could you tell me what is the increase in the capital outlay ratio?
Ma'am, I forgot the exact number.
Do look into that. And
Definitely.
also, are you aware, because 6 months have already passed
Yes,
since we talked about Gati Shakti, what is the latest development, implementation part of it?
Ma'am, I'll have to read on this.
Do read, because we have listed out almost 132 issues which have brought bottlenecks. If the problem is identified, I always feel identify the problem and then find the solution.
Yes.
So once the problem is identified, we will be able to handle that and maintain our timeline.
Yes, ma'am.
Small bottlenecks are there. So this is more of a cohesive program where all the other departments and ministries are integrated to take a holistic view.
Yes, ma'am.
And remove the bottlenecks. India is famous for bottlenecks, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So we are working on that. One last question about the impact of this war on India. Give me some positive answer. Give me 2-3 points which are positive and 2-3 points negative.
Ma'am, first starting with the negatives, because there are many. First was the short-term impact on the Indian students who were stranded in Ukraine.
That we have handled very successfully.
Yes,
That's a great success story. We lost one of the student, unfortunately. Yes. Next.
Ma'am, second was the threat to energy security of India, because supplies of natural gas and coals were disrupted. Coal supply was disrupted. India also faced emergent power crisis because of such supply disruption. Ma'am, third was the emerging food security crisis, especially in terms of edible oil, because Ukraine and Russia are major supplier of sunflower oil.
Okay. Enough of negativity.
Yes.
Tell me the positive things.
Ma'am, but there are some opportunities in the war. First was the proclamation of India's strategic autonomy to the world.
Yes, that's the biggest achievement, because now India is seen in a better light
Yes.
by others.
Yes.
People, mostly the Europe and the Western world, saw India as a doormat.
Yes.
No more, right? Who is behind this success story?
Ma'am, our external affairs minister.
He works
Shri,
with the Prime Minister, so both of them have done very well as far as bringing India into a better light.
Yes, ma'am.
Next.
Ma'am, second was the exports opportunity of food, especially wheat, that we have recently signed with Egypt as well. And as the food crisis in the world emboldens, India can supply more such food grains to the world.
Right.
And apart from this, ma'am, the humanitarian support to Ukrainians, that is also there, which India is providing.
Right. One more thing, that now we have said that the most important thing for India is its own national interest.
Yes.
And if we get crude oil from Russia at a cheaper price and easily, why not? India will not shy away from taking crude. Do read a little, update yourself on this, because we are taking crude, and almost we used to take only 2-3%. Now we are taking we have already taken 47%. What India is doing is, after taking this crude, they are refining it, and we have opportunities to export that.
Yes.
To Europe, which is ultimately the sanction. How, they are talking about sanctions, but they are trying to take the refined version of the crude oil, the other products from India itself, which is a slap on their face. They say something else and do something else.
Yes,
Okay. All the best to you, and now Mr. Nitin will take over from me. Nitin, you can go ahead.
Okay. All right. Hello, Raj.
Hello, sir.
So, this is your first interview,
Yes, sir.
and you've been preparing for 4 attempts now, right?
Yes.
And your hobbies are podcasting and breakdancing.
Yes, sir.
Can you explain me what is breakdancing?
So breakdancing is a freestyle street dance, and it involves basically 4 different moves: locking, popping, and acrobatic stunts. And there is also the freestyle component.
So what is the difference between breakdancing and hip hop?
Sir, hip hop is a culture. It has under it a different avenues And breakdancing is a part of hip hop. And there are 5 main pillars of hip hop, as they say. First is rapping, then DJing, then graffiti, and breakdancing. And 5th one is a little abstract called knowledge.
Okay. And you do podcasting also. What topics do you prefer for podcasting?
So I have a podcasting channel which I started last year. On that, we discuss the current happenings of the week and their impact on India.
It's on YouTube.
It's on Instagram, sir.
On Instagram, you do.
Yes.
So, what is the length of your videos?
So it's close to 1 hour.
1 hour videos on Instagram.
Yes, sir.
Instagram has shorter videos, right?
So they are called reels, but there is a live section where one can go live for any amount of time.
Do you go live? I'm just curious.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And what kind of instruments do you use?
So we do it simply by phone, and I call one of the guests, which is one of my colleague from college, and we discuss on the issues that have happened in the last week.
What was the last podcast that you did on?
So in the last podcast, first of all, we discussed the Naga peace talks and the emerging food security crisis. And one more was about hate speech.
What is your viewership like?
So we have around 1,500 followers.
1,500 followers?
Yes.
And how many of them watch your videos live?
So around 100 to 200 they watch live, but the short clips that we make, they reach around 5,000 to 6,000 views.
But that's really good. And can you monetize it also?
So that is not the intention right now. But if in future such happens, then we'll welcome it.
Okay, so you must be having good knowledge of what is happening around you.
I think
Because
so.
you do podcasts and all, right? What is your view on renaming of Kutum Minar? This has recently, this was in news, right? They want to rename Kutum Minar as Vishnu Stamp.
Yes, sir.
And this whole Hanuman Chalisa controversy that is going on. What is your view on that? Can you speak on it for 1 minute?
Yes. Sure, sir.
Assume it's a podcast.
Yes, sir. So recently there have been moves to rename the Qutub Minar as Vishnu Stamp, and the ongoing tussle between Azan and Hanuman Chalisa and their being declared on the loudspeakers in different religious temples and mosques. So this has created a question about is religion everything in India, and should religion be restricted to private sphere or should it be in the public sphere? There is no right answer to this question, but there is a way forward, and that way forward is to take all the religions and all the people together. If the community in the area they have no problem with the Azan or the Hanuman Chalisa, then they should be allowed to do that. And if it is causing problem to anyone, and the Supreme Court has also mentioned that it is not an essential practice, then it can be taken down. But any kind of imposement on the public should be refrained from. Because there are places in India, some villages where Hanuman Chalisa is played in the morning, and some areas where Azan is played 5 times, and the people enjoy that. So they should be given that right to freedom which they deserve.
All right. And Raj, you are a graduate in chemistry.
It's a chemical engineering.
In chemical engineering, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Can you tell me something about the recent emphasis on hydrogen fuel cell? Yes. What is a hydrogen fuel cell?
Sir, hydrogen fuel cell is an electrochemical cell, and it converts chemical energy into electrical energy. Hydrogen is supplied on the anode side and oxygen is supplied on the cathode side, and they end up giving the reaction hydrogen plus oxygen giving H2O, and that creates an electromotive force which is a voltage, and that can be and that ultimately generates current. But hydrogen is not only an electrochemical fuel cell, it can also be used in combustion engines. So it has applications both as a fuel and as a battery.
So why only now? Hydrogen has always been present. Oxygen we already have. Why emphasis is being given now? Did we not have the technology of converting hydrogen and oxygen into energy?
So we had the technology and these fuel cell reactions were known to everyone. But recently there can be two reasons why there is a huge shift. First is the climate change impact has become so severe that there is need to act now.
Okay.
And there is need to diversify away from the crude oil and fossil fuel based energy paradigm. And second will be the technology for miniaturizing those fuel cells that was not developed until 90s. And now with the emergence of semiconductors and
what is green hydrogen?
So green hydrogen is hydrogen extracted from electrolysis of water done using renewable energy.
Using renewable. And how is it different from blue hydrogen?
So blue hydrogen is obtained from the steam methane reforming process of natural gas, and the carbon dioxide released that is captured by the carbon capture process. So that gives blue hydrogen.
So is it because that we have green hydrogen now and the per unit cost is very low that we are emphasizing on hydrogen fuel cell now?
Definitely, sir. The low.
Are you aware of the per unit cost of renewable energy right now compared to non-renewable energy sources?
Sir, the exact cost I'm forgetting, but it is now even less than the conventional sources of energy.
So it makes more sense to emphasize on that, right?
Definitely.
Because it is cheaper now.
Yes.
Right? Okay. Can you tell me what is happening in Sri Lanka right now and how will it impact India?
Sir, recently the Sri Lankan Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa has resigned from his post due to the violent public protests. The economic crisis in Sri Lanka is in three different zones. First is that exchange rate has plummeted, and secondly their foreign reserves are negligible right now, and third is they have huge debts and they have defaulted on their debts. So also the political structure is responsible for the current economic scenario. So the people are on the roads and they are demanding resignation of president and prime minister both. And the impact on India of the Sri Lanka crisis. First will be the huge influx of refugees from Sri Lanka to India. That needs to be managed. And secondly, sir, any instability around India can spill over to India. So regional instability needs to be checked for stability in the region.
Apart from that, how will it impact us strategically?
Sir, the impact or footprint of China in Sri Lanka can increase because if China tries to bail out Sri Lanka, and it has recently made offers as well, so that will increase Chinese footprint in the Indian Ocean region.
Okay. My last question, right? And since you are into web development and all,
yes, sir.
You develop apps yourself?
So not whole apps, but functional websites that are useful.
So what kind of functional websites?
So there is one tool in which I can upload the highlighted PDF, and it extracts the highlighted sections and creates note out of it. So that creates efficient note making.
What software do you use to make web applications?
So on Linux.
On Linux only?
Yes.
And what language?
So mainly Python because that is easy to learn.
Python is easy to learn.
Definitely.
Okay. All right. That's it from my end. Raj.
I see that you were a runner-up in a hackathon. You developed a alcohol detection system. How does the system work?
Sir, there is an alcohol sensor which was provided in this Internet of Things hackathon, and the prize that we received was not because of the technological breakthrough, rather it was the ideation that was very great. Because the implementation of this project can be at such huge level. There are already alcohol sensors, and our task was very minimal. We simply created a inbuilt system that can be housed in the car itself. And as soon as the driver enters the car, his breath can be analyzed by the sensor. And if it is above the permissible limit, an alert will be sent to his relatives or the chosen contact.
Okay, that's very, very nice.
Yes.
How does the systems work that are there with the traffic police? Do you know how that system works?
Yes, sir. So they work on a paper-based sensor, and the paper is layered with potassium carbonate and one other chemical which I'm forgetting. So the presence of ethanol that is detected by these chemicals.
Okay. Is that the sole system? Are there any lightweight systems also, infrared and stuff like that?
Yes, sir. That can be the newest
all right.
technology as well.
What is the permissible limit in India? Do you know?
Sir, in India, it is 50 microgram per milliliter.
50?
Yes, sir.
Microgram per million.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And do you know what proportion of road accidents are actually caused by drunk driving?
Sir, I'll have to check the fact on this.
Okay. Because many states, when they go for prohibition, they say that, drunk driving is one of the reasons road accidents occur.
Yes.
So that's a one positive. Do check that, the figure, how many are caused by it. What other reasons do you think that road accidents happen in India? Why? Any overall number that you are aware of? How many accidents occur annually? How many people die annually?
Sir, the exact figure I'll have to check. I'm not able
Any
to
reasons why so many accidents happen?
Yes, sir. So first and foremost reason is the irrational development of roads. There are sharp turns and sometimes the roads
Right.
converge
Engineering, yes.
unnecessarily. So that is the one leading reason. Sir, second is the potholes and irrational speed breakers on the roads. There are many accidents because of potholes, especially in the urban areas. And sir, third is drunk driving as well.
Driving habits of Indians in general?
Yes, sir. Fourth and another major reason can be that as well.
Okay. So you were part of placement cell as well. There have been many reports which say that, most of India's engineering graduates, they are unemployable.
Yes.
What do you think is the reason behind it? And how, and as an administrator, what are the remedial measures that you will suggest?
So the companies that come into engineering colleges for hiring graduates, they rarely hire on the basis of what the graduates have learned in the college. Most of the hirings is in software or data science, which is something that the students learn on their own. And if the students are not well aware or motivated enough to learn something on their own, then the college education provides very little avenues for being eligible for jobs. Only the core sectors, they hire from what people have learned in the college, and they hire mainly through GATE. So those companies, they don't come to college, the PSUs.
But it is not specific only to the IT sector. It's not that the employability is questioned, say a mechanical engineering graduate is going into Infosys for coding. That is not the only concern. A mechanical engineering graduate may not be qualified enough to work for NTPC. That's the problem that they are highlighting, that even in the core skills, they are lacking.
Yes, sir.
So what do you think is the reason behind it? And why do you think that a mechanical engineering graduate should actually work for a company like Infosys? Don't you think that they should, if they have studied mechanical engineering, they should either work for NTPC or mechanical related companies, maybe automotive sector, or they should go for higher studies? Why are they switching to?
Yes, sir.
Why is this trend so common in India?
Sir, answering the first question, that why their employability is low. Sir, main reason will be the curriculum of the colleges. They are still of 70s and 80s time, and they are still being taught the theoretical concepts, whereas the applications in real life, they have changed drastically, and new machines and new technologies have come up,
Right.
which they are not well aware of. So that is one reason. And as far as why people switch to different departments during jobs, so single reason is the huge opportunities in the software sector, along with the good payment that they get. So that is the main attractive factor. And secondly,
I don't think Infosys is considered as the top employer in terms of employee compensation.
Definitely, sir.
Or maybe even there are other software companies.
Yes, sir. So
Why do you think that they shift to software?
Sir, first is the guarantee of job, that they definitely will get job if they learn how to code. Second is, if they want a job in mechanical department, they will have to crack GATE or some other exam.
Okay, so just tell me how to improve the situation here. I mean, so that our engineering graduates, they are only working in the to make India a great manufacturing hub, say for example.
Yes, sir.
Say in semiconductor, maybe in R&D.
Yes, sir. So firstly, such restrictions should not be imposed that one should choose jobs in his own department. If
That is not there.
yes, if it is their choice, if they want, they should be allowed. And secondly, if the jobs in their department, we need to encourage them, then that can be done by creating opportunities. There are many startups working in AI and 3D printing, which are hiring mechanical engineering graduates, and they are hiring for R&D level and at engineering level. So there is one major reason why people don't go into their own department, because jobs in India, especially in the core sector, they are more of a clerical nature and not of the not what an engineer does in foreign countries or in big corporates. So that is why they don't prefer such jobs.
So, okay, so you suggest that there should be more greater cooperation with the industry.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. One more thing, that you have you created a simulation for carbon dioxide capture.
Yes, sir.
So what is done after the carbon dioxide has been captured? So how is this carbon CO2 utilized?
Sir, the captured carbon dioxide can be utilized in different ways. First is in the food processing industry, in the carbonated drinks and as preservatives. Second is it can be used in pharmaceutical industries because CO2 is used for creating many chemicals used in pharmaceuticals. And third is it can be used in maintaining ground stability, especially in the mining areas where there is threat of land displacement and land
Okay. Have you heard about CCS and CCU, the
Yes.
technologies? Can you tell me what is the difference?
So CCS is carbon capture and storage, and CCU is carbon capture and utilization.
So carbon capture and utilization, does that actually reduce the carbon footprint?
So there are different models. First is a carbon neutral model, in that the captured carbon dioxide, it can be used for extracting more oil in the oil drills as it increases the efficiency. So
But that defeats the purpose, don't you think? Because ultimately, again, that carbon will go into the atmosphere. See, the ultimate purpose is to
Yes,
reduce the carbon going into the atmosphere. So
Yes.
if we are utilizing it elsewhere, we are not exactly reducing the footprint.
yes, sir.
Is it correct?
So in this model, it is carbon positive actually, the oil drill method. So in the carbon neutral method, the carbon dioxide is reacted with hydrogen to produce syngas and other fuel gas. And when that is burnt, it releases carbon dioxide again. But the whole life cycle, there is no net emission is not there. So it is carbon neutral in nature.
How does that happen? If ultimately it is releasing carbon dioxide only, how it becomes neutral at a
So
whole
because
cycle level?
we have released only what we extracted from the atmosphere. So there is no net addition to the atmosphere of carbon dioxide.
Okay. All right. I think that's all from my side.